Harper Audio presents The Happiness Track: How to Apply the Science of Happiness to Accelerate Your Success by Emma Seppala, performed by Nan McNamara. Introduction. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. Maya Angelou. One summer, when I was in college, I interned for a major international newspaper in Paris, France. As the only intern there, I was very busy. From 2 to 11 p.m., I ran between the second floor and the basement, delivering messages and documents. I interacted with nearly everyone, from the top editors to the printing staff. The second floor housed a handful of executives in their windowed offices and a large number of American writers and editors who sat bent over computers in cubicles. In the basement were the blue-collar French press workers who printed the newspapers. The difference in atmosphere between the second floor and the basement was striking. On the second floor, you could feel the tension in the air. The floor was quiet, except for the sounds of typing and printing. The editors, most of them overweight with dark circles under their eyes, were huddled over their screens, keeping to themselves and eating pizza at their desks. But in the basement, the mood was downright festive. French wine, cheese, and bread were all laid out on a huge table. The printing staff laughed and joked. The atmosphere was vibrant. Whereas on the second floor, no one talked to me unless they needed something, I was always loudly welcomed when I went into the printing room. Soon I found myself wishing for more reasons to join that joyful atmosphere. Working at the newspaper, going back and forth between these two groups, got me thinking. Here was a team of people, editors, writers, and press workers, working through the night to finish and distribute a newspaper by dawn. Yes, it's true that the two groups performed different tasks and came from different cultures, but they were both working to meet the same urgent deadline. One mistake from either group and the paper missed its morning delivery. Night after night, despite the challenges, both groups successfully completed their jobs. Yet they went about it in opposite ways. One group was stressed, burned out, and unhealthy looking. The other, happy, energetic, and thriving. I believe most of us want to be like the French press workers. We want to do a good job, and we want to enjoy doing it. Everyone wants to be successful and happy. And yet achieving these two goals has never been more elusive. Because of advances in technology, the pace of our lives is reaching overwhelming levels. Whether you're a CEO or a freelance art designer, you probably find yourself running from deadline to deadline, checking your mobile device for the latest email or text, updating your social media status, and reading up on the latest blog or news, all while planning the dinner menu, navigating traffic, and anticipating an upcoming conference call. Projects need to be completed faster and faster. With data and information readily available online, research needs to be in-depth and rigorous. Customers need better service faster, not to mention cheaper. Your boss and colleagues expect immediate responses to their messages and requests. To keep up with the demands of life, you probably sleep with your phone next to your bed. And more often than not, check email first thing in the morning and just before going to bed. You also connect with your friends via social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn, responding to incoming notifications, to that must-watch video someone sent you, and to the implicit obligation to post updates and photos to stay in touch with the world. Meanwhile, email and message inboxes fill up no matter how long or hard you work to stay on top of them. Your weekdays are an endless race to complete the never-ending to-do list before you collapse into bed exhausted, getting to sleep at a much later hour than your body would like. Your weekends aren't much better. They are likely filled with domestic errands like laundry and grocery shopping, as well as work that is spilled over from the work week. Vacations, few and far between, pack in stressful travel, visits with relatives, and maybe 1 or 2 days of extra sleep before you return to the grind. And even when you are on vacation, you find it hard to unplug from the world of work, so you check your devices to keep up with your job while sitting by the pool. We have simply accepted overextension as a way of life. We want to be good employees, so we work hard. We want to be good parents, so we try to spend more time with our kids. We want to be good spouses, so we cook meals, go to the gym, plan a date night. We want to be good friends, so we attend social activities. And we do all of this even though we're exhausted. When the speed of our lives makes us feel stressed, drained, and overextended, we blame ourselves. After all, everyone else seems to be keeping up. To succeed, we believe we just need to hang in there and keep going, pushing past the pain, past our limits, and past our well-being. When we do succeed by rushing, straining, and keeping up, we don't necessarily feel good. We might experience a sense of relief, but that relief comes with a high price tag: burnout, disconnection, stress. But isn't the point of all that hard work and suffering to be happy? Isn't the idea that success will bring happiness? The myths of success. Over the last decade, I have spent time with highly successful people. I studied alongside them at Yale, Columbia, and Stanford. I worked with them in Paris, New York City, Shanghai, and Silicon Valley. While I have been inspired by my colleagues as they launch nonprofits, get voted into Congress, write best-selling novels, become successful Broadway actors, found innovative startups, play major roles in humanitarian efforts across the world, and attain billionaire status as Wall Street bankers, I have also been saddened to see so many of these outwardly successful people drive themselves into the ground and end up chronically stressed and unhealthy. These people are highly talented with huge potential, yet sadly, in the process of reaching their goals, many of them burn out their greatest asset: themselves. They often drive their employees into the ground as well, perpetuating the cycle. While on the one hand, I was observing this phenomenon among my friends and former classmates, I was, on the other, studying and researching the psychology of health and happiness as a doctoral student at Stanford University. The deeper I delved into that literature, the more I was stunned to discover that the way we are taught to seek success, and what is culturally supported and encouraged, is wrong. Study upon study confirmed that what my friends and colleagues were doing, and what I was doing, in our search for success and happiness, while it may have worked over the short term to a certain extent, was actually backfiring. Since then, I've come to appreciate that our inability to achieve sustainable fulfillment in our lives is tied to common but outdated theories about success. We believe in these theories of success precisely because we see them play out routinely in the lives of successful people like my colleagues. From a young age, we are taught that getting ahead means doing everything that's thrown at us, and then some, with razor-sharp focus and iron discipline, and at the expense of our happiness. Here are the 6 major false theories that drive our current notions of success. Never stop accomplishing. Stay continually focused on getting things done. To achieve more and stay competitive, you've got to move quickly from one to-do to another, always keeping an eye on what's next. You can't have success without stress. Stress is inevitable if you want success. Living in overdrive is the inescapable byproduct of a fast-paced life. Suffering is inevitable and even necessary. Persevere at all costs. Work to exhaustion. Spend every drop of mental energy you have staying on task, despite distractions and temptations. Focus on your niche. Immerse yourself exclusively in one area of knowledge. By focusing narrowly on your field and becoming an expert in it, you'll know how to best solve its problems. Play to your strengths. Align your work with your talents. Do what you do best and stay away from your weaknesses. To discover your talents and weaknesses, be your own toughest critic. Look out for number one. Look out primarily for yourself and your interests so you can successfully outperform the competition. These theories of success permeate our culture. They are ingrained in us from the time we attend elementary school. Don't daydream, focus, work harder. But while these theories are widely popular and appear to make a lot of sense, they are, in fact, incredibly flawed. While some people have attained success this way, they have done so at great cost. In fact, research demonstrates that these theories actually hurt your potential for success and happiness because they lead to a host of negative consequences. They harm your ability to connect productively with others, impede work creativity, diminish your energy, prevent you from performing at your best, and make you less resilient in the face of challenge and failure. Research suggests that you are also more likely to end up burned out, isolated, and suffering from poor physical and mental health. The way we go about finding success, fueled by a cultural message to do it all, supported by technology that keeps us plugged in 24/7, and driven by these myths of success, is simply unsustainable. Everyone feels the crushing pressure of this approach to success. The great myth overarching all the other myths of success is that we have to sacrifice happiness in the short term to be successful and happy in the long term. However, this approach not only keeps us from being as productive as we can be, but actually makes us deeply unhappy. In the last year, have you felt overextended with no solution or end in sight? Trapped in a never-ending rat race of to-dos to accomplish? Out of time to do the things you want to do? Unable to spend time with your loved ones? Feeling guilty for doing things you enjoy rather than being productive? Failing to find meaning or fulfillment in your day-to-day? You're not alone. Stress levels in the United States are increasing at an alarming rate, according to a study by the Regis Group, which found 58% of Americans claiming that their stress is rising. Anxiety is the leading cause for mental health treatment in the United States, costing the nation over $42 billion per year. The use of antidepressants among Americans of all ages has risen by 400% in the last decade. According to a 2014 Gallup study, a parallel crisis is going on in workplaces nationwide. 50% of employees are unengaged, present but uninspired, while 20% are actively disengaged, that is, very unhappy at work, costing the U.S. economy over $450 billion per year. Decades of research have shown that happiness is not the outcome of success, but rather its precursor. In other words, if you want to succeed, you have to be more like the French press workers in the basement. What's happiness got to do with it? A few years ago, I gave a talk on the psychology of happiness to a group of accountants at a Fortune 100 firm in New York City. About 40 people were crowded into the conference room. As I started my talk, I could tell that some of the audience members were keenly interested in the topic, while others sat at the back of the room and snickered. The latter were obviously required to be at the talk, but didn't think this soft subject would be of value. I didn't blame them. After all, we rarely hear about happiness as the secret to success. We are, in fact, taught the opposite. The colleague who invited me to speak to the accounting firm had warned me that the science of happiness might not resonate with his data-focused colleagues. He advised me to start with facts and figures about the cost of negative emotions and the benefits of happiness. Since I would be dealing with accountants, I should just let the numbers speak for themselves. Sure enough, by the time I finished going through the hard facts, the snickering had died down. By the end of the talk, even the cynics at the back of the room shared with me that they were convinced by what they called an avalanche of persuasive data. Even if we don't frequently hear about the connection between happiness and success, we know intuitively the powerful impact our emotions have on us. After all, a nasty comment from a colleague or a morning fight with a spouse can disrupt our productivity and focus for the rest of the day. Our emotions and state of mind heavily influence everything we do. Think of how differently your interactions and productivity are when you feel stressed, sad, or angry, versus when you are happy, relaxed, and grateful. Happiness, defined as a state of heightened positive emotion, has a profound positive effect on our professional and personal lives. It increases our emotional and social intelligence, boosts our productivity, and heightens our influence over peers and colleagues. These are the very ingredients that allow us to be successful without having to sacrifice health and happiness. Barbara Fredrickson from the University of North Carolina, along with other researchers who study the impact of positive emotions, have found that happiness brings out our best potential in 4 concrete ways. Intellectually, positive emotions help you learn faster, think more creatively, and resolve challenging situations. For example, Mark Beeman at Northwestern University has shown that people have an easier time solving a puzzle after watching a short comedy clip. Fun, by easing tension and activating pleasure centers in the brain, helps spark neuronal connections that facilitate greater mental flexibility and creativity. It's no surprise then that multiple studies have shown that happiness makes people 12% more productive. Psychologically, if you're like most people, you probably fall prey to the ebbs and flows of your state of mind. Your moods, not external factors, determine how your day will go. You can be on a beautiful beach, yet feel miserable because you are upset at a family member. Or you can be blissful in bumper-to-bumper traffic because you just found out that you and your partner are expecting a child. Positive emotions help keep you emotionally balanced, regardless of circumstances. How? Research by Barbara Fredrickson and others shows that positive emotions help you bounce back from stress much more quickly. By helping you rapidly recuperate from negative emotions, they effectively shorten the time you feel stressed, angry, or depressed, and make you generally more optimistic. Let's say your job requires you to interact with a client, colleague, or manager who is critical and harsh. As a consequence, you may find it challenging to keep giving your best day after day. However, if you are able to maintain a high level of positive emotion, you will recover more quickly after each interaction. Your optimism will provide a psychological and physiological buffer against the stress caused by that person. You can maintain your productivity and peace of mind. Socially, there's no doubt that relationships at work, be they with managers, colleagues, employees, or clients, are essential to success. Positive emotions strengthen existing relationships. For example, shared laughter, the expression of positive emotion, makes people more open and willing to cooperate. A number of studies show that happy employees make for a more congenial workplace. In particular, happy, friendly, and supportive coworkers tend to build higher quality relationships with others at work, boost coworkers' productivity levels, increase coworkers' feeling of social connection, cultivate commitment to the workplace, increase levels of engagement with their job, provide improved customer service, even if they don't stand to benefit. Research shows that negative feelings like anxiety and depression, unlike positive emotions, make us more self-centered. In contrast, positive emotions boost our inclination to connect with others in productive ways. Fredrickson shows that happiness boosts our sense of belonging, allowing us to see things from others' perspective, and thereby more likely to make a positive difference in their lives. It dramatically increases our ability to build relationships and friendships. In turn, we feel more connected, more confident, and more supported by our growing networks. Our happiness also affects our colleagues' productivity. Just as difficult coworkers can create a challenging atmosphere, people who are positive and supportive create an uplifting atmosphere. By being happy, you make those around you happier. Research by social scientists James Fowler of University of California, San Diego, and Nicholas Christakis of Harvard University suggests that happiness tends to spread up to 3 degrees of separation from you to those close to you, your colleagues and acquaintances, and even strangers you will never know. This is how you create a culture of happiness in your workplace, home, or community. Physically, Fredrickson has found that positive emotions improve health and physical well-being by increasing strength and cardiovascular health, as well as by improving coordination, sleep, and immune function. Additionally, positive emotions are associated with reduced inflammation. In other words, being happier helps to keep you healthier, even if you work in a high-intensity or stress-inducing environment. In fact, positive emotions speed up recovery from the cardiovascular impact of stress. Preliminary studies have also shown that lightening up with laughter normalizes levels of the stress hormone cortisol, boosts immune function, and reduces inflammation. Knowing that happiness leads to success is not enough, however. That's why I wrote this book, to show you exactly how your happiness can maximize your resilience, creativity, productivity, charisma, and many other critical skills for success. You will learn how to be productive without chronic stress, how to achieve more without burning out. In other words, how to maximize your professional potential and personal fulfillment. The 6 keys to happiness and success. In the following chapters, I will share empirically validated data demonstrating that the path to long-term success and well-being is often the opposite of what we've been taught. We will examine how the counterproductive theories of success that dominate our culture backfire and undermine our best efforts. Drawing on the latest findings from psychology, organizational behavior, and neuroscience, research on resilience, creativity, mindfulness, compassion, and more, I will show you how applying the following 6 strategies for attaining happiness and fulfillment may, in fact, be the key to thriving professionally. 1. Live or work in the moment. Instead of always thinking about what's next on your to-do list, focus on the task or conversation at hand. You will become not only more productive, but also more charismatic. 2. Tap into your resilience. Instead of living in overdrive, train your nervous system to bounce back from setbacks. You will naturally reduce stress and thrive in the face of difficulties and challenges. 3. Manage your energy. Instead of engaging in states of mind that exhaust you, learn to manage your stamina by remaining calm and centered. You'll be able to save precious mental energy for the tasks that need it most. 4. Do nothing. Instead of spending all your time focused intently on your field, make time for idleness, fun, and irrelevant interests. You will become more creative and innovative and will be more likely to come up with breakthrough ideas. 5. Be good to yourself. Instead of only playing to your strengths and being self-critical, be compassionate with yourself and understand that your brain is built to learn new things. You will improve your ability to excel in the face of challenge and be more likely to learn from mistakes. 6. Show compassion to others. Instead of remaining focused on yourself, express compassion to and show interest in those around you, and maintain supportive relationships with your coworkers, boss, and employees. You will dramatically increase the loyalty and commitment of your colleagues and employees, thereby improving productivity, performance, and influence. These 6 strategies will greatly improve your psychological and physical well-being. They will help you be happier and live a life of meaning and purpose, and, as I show throughout the book, enhance success. The strategies are not complicated. Applying them to your daily life does not require complex training or huge lifestyle changes. In fact, these strategies tap into resources you already have. You already have the capacity to come up with brilliant ideas, to remain calm in the face of overwhelming demands, to stay present when your mind pulls you away, to be kind to yourself and others, to sit with your thoughts and rest when the world tells you to go, go, go. Each chapter will provide concrete how-tos to help you get there. Whatever your personal endeavor, full-time dad in Chicago, Fortune 500 CEO in Dallas, community activist in Oakland, or ballerina in New York City, I hope this book will provide you with relief. Relief in the knowledge that you already have all it takes to be happy and successful. That a stress-free and fulfilled life is not only possible, but also the secret to personal and professional success. You have the ability to tap into the festive productivity of the French printing team, and I'll show you how. The research is clear. Happiness can fast-track success, not to mention well-being. Chapter 1. Stop chasing the future. Why happiness and success are found in the present. No valid plans for the future can be made by those who have no capacity for living now. Alan Watts. When you travel to Silicon Valley, the land of Facebook, Twitter, Google, and Stanford University, you notice almost immediately that there is a buzz in the air. Whether it's in the downtown Palo Alto cafes, where you inevitably overhear excited conversations between startup entrepreneurs and would-be investors, or on the Stanford campus, where brilliant students sit in beautiful lecture halls listening to Nobel Prize-winning professors, the buzz of excitement and achievement is practically tangible. The thrill of opportunity, invention, and success permeates the atmosphere. But if you listen closely, you will hear another distinctive buzz alongside it, the buzz of chronic anxiety. When I arrived at Stanford for graduate school, I was shocked by how many suicides there were during my first year there. Here we were, on one of the most stunning and sunny campuses in the world, biking down palm-lined roads to get to class, and surrounded by talented scholars and classmates, yet there was so much misery. Saddened by these events, a fellow Stanford student and I were inspired to offer happiness and mindfulness workshops to students, and I helped co-found Stanford's first Psychology of Happiness course. In teaching these classes, I got to know Stanford undergraduate and graduate students from all fields. I began to understand where the anxiety and misery were coming from, not only at Stanford, but also throughout Silicon Valley and, in fact, among all the overachiever communities I had known at Yale, Columbia, and in Manhattan. Focused on the future and on everything they needed to do, students were permanently anxious. Everyone was frantically knocking out one achievement after another. Before they had finished one task, their minds were already on to the next thing they could accomplish in the name of productivity and success. As a consequence, They were unable to be present and celebrate their current accomplishments, not to mention enjoy their life. Jackie was one of the many stellar students I taught. She was no stranger to success. Already as a teenager, she received acclaim and media attention for her dedication to community service. At 14, she founded Everybody Dance Now, a nonprofit dedicated to teaching dance to underprivileged youths to help them stay off the streets and develop confidence. In addition to her commitment to community service, she excelled in high school, winning a number of grants and scholarships based on her academic achievements, and becoming California's Junior Miss before landing a coveted undergraduate admission to Stanford. There, she continued to be celebrated in the public eye when she expanded her nonprofit nationally, was featured on MTV's America's Best Dance Crew, and was named one of Glamour magazine's top 10 college women. Jackie knew she had to be successful to get into college. What she didn't know, however, was that she would have to keep collecting achievements after she got there. She was troubled to find that once at Stanford, everyone kept frantically focusing their efforts on achieving more awards, further acclaim, and greater successes. Even when you introduced people, you would always mention their past accomplishments as part of the introduction. "This is so-and-so who has achieved these impressive things," Jackie shared. She felt burned out, but her professors told her that she would need to keep collecting achievements and should do so quickly to keep up with her classmates. "My friends were starting nonprofits that were receiving national recognition, becoming Rhodes Scholars, being nominated by Forbes as 20 under 20, or were Olympic-level athletes. One of my friends was the youngest city council member in California and the third political candidate to be backed by Oprah as a college senior." Jackie gives the example of applying for a scholarship at 19 as a junior in college. As part of this scholarship, she was asked to describe which graduate school program she planned to pursue, what classes she would be taking there, the job she would get on her way out, her 10-year career plan, the world problems she was planning to solve in her career and their policy implications, in addition to describing the extensive leadership experience she was meant to have demonstrated by that point in her life. You are pushed into thinking so far into your future, you're basically on a hamster racetrack, a rat race. Carol Pertovsky, Director of Wellness and Health Promotion at Stanford, with whom I founded Stanford's first Psychology of Happiness class, explained the Stanford Duck Syndrome to me. On the surface, the students look like peaceful ducks, serenely gliding along in the sun, contentedly basking in the splendor and grace of their success. However, if you look under the surface, there is a dark underside. The ducks' legs are furiously pedaling as they struggle to stay afloat and to keep moving. Carol recounts the story of a student who came up to her after the first class of the happiness course. The student announced that she had to drop out. When I asked her why, she said that it went against everything she had been taught. "My parents told me that my job in life was to be very, very successful. As I got older, I asked my parents what I needed to do to be very successful, and they said to work very, very hard. As time went by, I asked them, 'How do I know when I'm working hard enough?' And they said, 'When you're suffering.'" Carol explains that this mentality is the undercurrent of Stanford overachievers. There is a constant focus on achievement, and you are meant to pay the price by sacrificing your well-being. This rat race does not just take place at Stanford or in Silicon Valley. It's everywhere. Whether you're a web designer, teacher, firefighter, or Army officer, you are encouraged to keep checking things off the to-do list, amassing accomplishments, and focusing your efforts on the future. There's always something more you can do to further yourself at work, an extra project or responsibility you can take on, more schooling you can complete to ensure promotion, or an additional investment to wager on just in case. There's always that coworker who is putting in longer hours, showing you that you too can and should do more. And so you strive nonstop to exceed your goals, constantly playing catch-up with your ambitious to-do list. Why? Because you live by the faulty theory that if you want to succeed, you need to continually be getting things done and moving on to the next goal as quickly as possible. Your mind is always on the next task, the next accomplishment, the next person you need to talk to. In the process, you sacrifice the present, foregoing personal happiness, enduring negative feelings, and tremendous stress, because you believe the eventual payoff is worth it. As a consequence, you get caught up in frantic and anxious workaholism. You may find yourself asking, what am I doing right now to help reach my future goals? If you're not asking yourself this question, then your manager, partner, or colleagues probably are. And if your answer is nothing, you may feel bad. Thus, the need to constantly be doing something to improve yourself. You're caught up in the compulsion to constantly achieve, always adding meat to your bio and feathers to your cap. You haven't finished one task before your mind is on to the next one. You work hard to clear things off your to-do list and then immediately fill it up again. You might be working on a presentation or article, but your mind is already on the topic you will cover in the next one. Even at home, you might be doing dishes, but your mind is making a mental list of other chores you need to tackle. This tendency to focus on getting things done is, of course, not categorically negative. Accomplishments are good things. Yet constantly focusing on the next thing, ironically, ends up keeping you from the very success you are chasing. When everyone embraces the view that each minute is an opportunity to accomplish more and move ahead, you get caught up in this perspective and don't stop to question whether it's working for you. And you may even pride yourself on your willpower. Research shows that children's ability to delay gratification, the willpower to stop doing something that will bring them immediate satisfaction so that they can receive an even bigger reward later, predicts success in life. In a classic study, children were offered a treat, like a marshmallow or cookie, and told that if they didn't eat it right away, they would get double or more later. Those who were able to wait ended up doing better in life as adults. Sounds good in general, right? The problem comes, however, when, as adults, we keep delaying our happiness in favor of getting more things done so that we can be even happier later, or so we think. This delaying process can go on forever, turning into workaholism, which damages the very success and happiness we are seeking. The anticipatory joy trap. In Authentic Happiness, psychologist Martin Seligman tells the story of a pet iguana who refused to eat and was slowly starving to death. The owner was at a loss as to how to save his iguana's life. One day, as the owner was eating a sandwich, the iguana riled up its energy and pounced on it. The iguana wasn't dying from lack of food. He would just rather starve to death than live a life devoid of the opportunity to hunt. The hunt captures us, too. It is the reason we get so caught up in chasing achievements. This joy of the chase, the excitement of a potential or imagined reward, is called anticipatory joy. This anticipatory joy, which is prevalent in both animals and humans, helped us survive through the pursuit of food sources, and ensured our reproduction as a species through the pursuit of sexual partners. It is this anticipatory joy that makes hard-to-get partners so attractive, Black Friday sales so irresistible, Facebook likes so addictive, and the very latest iPhone so titillating. Whether it's for a trophy, a promotion, a slice at a popular pizza parlor, or Twitter followers, desire excites us. Anticipatory joy is why people go window shopping, gamble, or test drive Ferraris. Marketers are experts at tapping into our love of a good chase. They use techniques like special deals and unique or limited opportunities to entice us. Don't miss out on the latest sale. Time-limited offer. You may find that you too use these techniques in your business or negotiation endeavors. Workaholism is really just another chase in disguise. Anticipatory joy drives work addiction, a tendency to work excessively and compulsively. Research by Michael Treadway has shown that people who work hard release greater amounts of dopamine, neurotransmitters that are markers of pleasure, in reward areas of the brain. Overachievers live off the fleeting high that comes from responding to that one extra email, getting that additional project out of the way, or checking one last thing off the to-do list. Work addiction, unlike addictions involving alcohol or other substances, is rewarded by our culture with promotions, bonuses, praise, awards, and so on, and therefore considered a good thing, despite its long-term negative impact on well-being. The chase mentality is pervasive in our culture because we are arguably facing the most difficult time in human history to resist external stimuli. Why? Technology allows work and personal demands to be on our radar all the time. Thanks to computers, smartphones, and tablets, the boss's latest request is sitting in an inbox. To-do lists, reminders pop up on screens, and text requests pop up on phones. We don't even have to make the effort to check these devices. Our smartphone or Apple Watches will beep or buzz to notify us of incoming mail or messages. In addition, we spend time on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, to stay on top of the latest news and connected to our network. Harvard Business School professor Leslie Perlow, author of Sleeping with Your Smartphone, calls people who can't let go of their work successaholics because she believes people become addicted to achievement. They suffer from what is well described by the slang acronym FOMO, fear of missing out. They need to always be on just in case to ensure that they are on top of everything and that they master the next project or get the next deal. We're obsessed with work because of the satisfaction we get from the kudos for achievement, not because of some deep-seated satisfaction from working long hours as an end in itself, she notes in a Harvard Business Review article. She points out that successaholics are, sadly, also the ones working on their phones and responding to email instead of watching their infants grow or enjoying their best friend's wedding. Given our propensity for anticipatory joy and the compulsion for the chase, it is no surprise that we are driven to get more and more things done, piling up achievements and accomplishments for some possible future success. Unbeknownst to us, however, this constant focus on productivity actually hurts rather than helps our chances of success. Why chasing the future does not lead to success. The reason we are so hooked on getting things done is that we believe the payoff that comes from achievements, an award or a larger savings account, will ultimately lead to the biggest payoff of all, happiness. We have the illusion that the success, fame, money, fill in the blank, that we are chasing will bring us some kind of lasting fulfillment. We often expect that we will be happy when we get this or that project over with. For example, you might think that if you work like a maniac, you'll get a sought-after promotion with a big raise, which will ease your financial anxieties at home. And once that anxiety is gone, well, you'll finally be happy. However, even when people achieve their goals, the payoff for which they endured all the stress, anxiety, and health repercussions that result from overworking is fleeting. Dan Gilbert at Harvard has shown that we are terrible at predicting what will or will not make us happy. We often overestimate the happiness something will bring us. Just like a cat who chases a toy but loses interest as soon as he catches it, when we finally get what we want, receiving a big end-of-year bonus, finding the perfect job, or even winning the lottery, we often find that we are not as happy as we thought we would be. Our future-oriented focus does, of course, have its benefits. Forward planning is not only wise, but even essential in many domains of life, from professional development to personal finances. We need to think ahead. And some anxiety, how can I make sure that our team successfully delivers our product to customers on time? How will I pay my mortgage? Comes with the territory. Research shows that thinking about the future can help you make wiser decisions overall, including financial decisions, like how much money goes in your savings account. Anticipatory joy, in turn, provides us with the determination, excitement, and grit needed to work hard for a promotion or new business deal, to complete marathons or graduate school degrees, or to gain fluency in a foreign language. We enjoy chasing our dreams and value things more if we worked hard to get them. However, there are major problems with constantly trying to get things done and focusing on the next thing. Doing so, ironically, prevents you from being as successful as you want to be and wreaks havoc on body and mind. Many studies show that the workaholic or successaholic chase can be detrimental on a number of levels. Health. It is linked to lower levels of physical and psychological health. In particular, it is associated with burnout, emotional exhaustion, cynicism, and depersonalization, a disturbing sense of disassociation from yourself that accompanies prolonged stress or trauma. It is also linked to lower overall life satisfaction. Work. It can, counterintuitively perhaps, damage productivity and performance. It has been linked to lower job satisfaction and increased job stress, which reduce productivity by, for example, reducing attention span. This should come as no surprise. If you are continually focused on the next thing you need to accomplish, only part of your attention is directed toward your present activity. Relationships. At work, constantly focusing on achievement can increase negative interactions with coworkers, leading to competitiveness, rivalry, and distrust, which further lead to counterproductive work behaviors. In personal relationships, it is linked to higher levels of work-life conflict, reduced family satisfaction and functioning, and relationship problems with spouses. If you are always thinking about the next thing you want to accomplish, you likely are not as present for your family and loved ones. They inevitably sense that they are not as important as whatever task you are worried about tackling next. From the outside, we may look like we have it all, but on the inside, we are burned out, not performing to our highest level, and feeling miserable both emotionally and physically, while our relationships suffer. The benefits of living in the present. Paradoxically, slowing down and focusing on what is happening in front of you right now, being present instead of always having your mind on the next thing, will make you much more successful. Expressions like live in the moment or carpe diem sound like cliches, yet science backs them up robustly. Research shows that remaining present, rather than constantly focusing on what you have to do next, will make you more productive and happier, and, moreover, will give you that elusive quality we attribute to the most successful people: charisma. Being present makes you more productive and happier. Most of us have lost the simple ability to stay in the present. We maintain a packed schedule with hardly any breaks and fill every moment of downtime with multitasking. For example, we take our children to the park after work while fitting in a call to a colleague. We attend a meeting while working on our to-do list for the following day. Or we post a LinkedIn update as we are having lunch with a friend. When multitasking, we are never fully attentive to what is going on right now, and we lose out on what is happening in that precise moment. Given the demands of this day and age and the pervasiveness of technology, You inevitably experience multiple personal and professional demand at any one time. You may be in a meeting at work, but also watching for incoming texts from your spouse who needs a ride home. Or you may be finishing a work document while also keeping an eye on emails so you can respond to a client right away. Some workplaces expect you to be on top of your inbox at all times of the day. Even when there is no urgency involved, multitasking has become a way of life. You have become used to checking your phone while working, while spending time with your family, and even at the gym and during vacations. Multitasking, instead of helping us accomplish more things faster, actually keeps us from doing anything well. When you are performing any individual task, if you are able to give it your undivided attention, you will accomplish it far more efficiently and quickly while also enjoying the process. When we are doing several things at once, we cannot deeply process the material we are working on. Research shows that multitasking harms your memory. In one study, university students who had their laptops open during a lecture ended up scoring worse on traditional memory tests for lecture content than students who had their laptops closed. Research also shows that our concentration skills weaken because we lose our ability to filter out unnecessary information and are therefore constantly thinking about other things. In a sense, we've trained our brain to process several things at once, but the result is that nothing is processed well. One study showed that if you are driving and listening to someone speak at the same time, the brain activation otherwise devoted to driving decreases by 37%. In other words, multitasking may mean doing more things, but doing them less well. A manager at a communications firm told me that many of her employees are so focused on multitasking that they end up handing in subpar work. She finds herself telling her employees to slow down, an unusual request from a manager, because she knows that if they are present and deliberately thinking through each task, they would not only perform better, but also learn from each task and thereby improve future performance as well. When we are caught up in multitasking or preoccupied with the next thing we need to cross off the to-do list, not only are we harming our performance, we may also be harming our well-being. One study found that the more people engaged in media multitasking, from word processing to text messaging and email, the higher their anxiety and depression levels tended to be. If you are constantly being pulled in several different directions, it is only natural that you will feel more stressed and overwhelmed. On the other hand, research shows that when we are completely in tune with what we are doing, we more fully enjoy that activity. Moreover, being completely present allows us to enter a state of complete absorption that is extremely productive. Think of a time when you were faced with a project you were dreading. You knew it would involve a lot of effort. Maybe you kept putting it off. However, once you started, perhaps finally egged on by an impending deadline, you became engaged and the project just flowed. You found that you actually enjoyed the process. You became highly productive because you focused completely on the task at hand. Instead of being stressed about the future and having your attention pulled in different directions, you got the work done and done well. And you were happy to boot. Research by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi suggests that when you are completely immersed in an activity, you experience a highly energized and pure state of joy he calls flow. Flow occurs when you are 100% involved in an activity that is challenging enough to engage you, but not so challenging that it would take days to figure out. It is a state in which you are fully in the present moment, and it produces great pleasure. You often lose awareness of everything other than your activity. Your mind is completely and utterly absorbed. You are in the moment, and things just seem to, flow. Those experiences of presence are deeply fulfilling because you are engaged, mind and body, in your experience. There was a time when I couldn't stand running errands, getting gas, taking my car for an oil change, calling the electricity company about a bill, or going grocery shopping. Taking care of this or that silly errand instead of being productive, doing things that would serve some future goal like advancing my career, felt like a waste of time. I even looked for ways to outsource my errands. Eventually, I realized that by constantly being in a productive mindset, I was not only wearing myself out chasing the next goal, but I was missing out on the people and opportunities around me. My life was actually going on right there and then, but I was missing it. I would meet a friend I hadn't seen for a long time, but couldn't be present because I had to check my email to find out if I had missed something, or I would go home early to get things done. In reality, I was living in constant anxiety, with my mind constantly wrapped up in the future. I stopped running 1,000,000 miles an hour after I had gallbladder surgery. I was forced to do nothing for 2 weeks. I had no choice in the matter. To my surprise, despite the intense physical pain, life instantly became 100 times more pleasurable. It was as if I were soaking in the sun around me. The food tasted so much better. My rest was deep. An incredible joy stirred within me for no reason. What was going on? Would I need to be on vacation for the rest of my life? No, it wasn't the fact that I was on leave from work. It was that I was on leave from my own internal taskmaster. As a consequence, I could be present, really present, with what I had. And I realized I had missed out on the immense joy of daily activities, social interactions, and time spent appreciating my environment. Interestingly, when I went back to work, I found that I was more present with my activities and coworkers, and as a consequence, I got more accomplished, and far more efficiently than when my mind was preoccupied with thoughts about the future. Yet, many of us miss out on this incredible experience of productivity and happiness for much of our lives. According to a study of 5,000 people by Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert of Harvard University, adults spend only about 50% of their time in the present moment. In other words, we are mentally checked out half of the time we spend working, being with friends and family, or engaging in activities we would usually enjoy. We are absorbed in a myriad of other things beyond what is happening right now. In addition to measuring when people's minds were wandering, the scientists also collected information on happiness levels. They found that when we are in the present moment, that is, thinking about the activity we are doing, we are also at our happiest, no matter what we are doing. In other words, even if you are engaging in an activity you usually find unpleasant, for instance, filling out administrative paperwork, you are happier when you are 100% consumed in that activity than when you are thinking about something else while doing so. Accordingly, Killingsworth and Gilbert titled their scientific paper, "A Wandering Mind is an Unhappy Mind." Other studies have confirmed that, in general, a wandering mind is associated with a negative mood. When your mind is caught up in the past or future, chances are you experience negative emotions. Anxiety and fear, for example, arise when your mind is focused on the future. In particular, when you are focused on how much you still need to accomplish, you typically experience anxiety and stress. As for negative states, like anger or frustration, you'll notice that they arise when your mind is caught in the past. Whatever happened to make you angry is over, yet your mind is still dwelling on that event. Regret also has to do with the past. It's a new day, a new hour, and a new circumstance, but you're still wallowing in a situation you wish you had handled differently. I'm certainly not saying that we shouldn't daydream or reminisce. As we will see in Chapter 4, we absolutely should set time aside for such activities since they fuel our creativity. Daydreaming about wonderful future events can lead to creative thoughts and more positive emotions. You can also derive joy from reliving a happy memory or musing on a particularly interesting topic. However, as Killingsworth and Gilbert show, when we are engaged in a task, we are happiest and most productive when we are completely attentive to it. Why does the present make us happy? Because we fully experience the things going on around us. Instead of getting caught up in a race to accomplish more things faster, we slow down and are actually with the people we are with, immersed in the ideas being discussed, and fully engaged in our projects. We all have available choices that can help us stay present in our tasks. Clear your desk of distractions. Put your cell phone on silent. Use programs like Focus to block websites that you use to procrastinate, such as social media websites, and log off email. Set a timer to make sure you stay with the task at hand until a certain time. I like to use an old-school hourglass. Being present increases your charisma. If you meet someone at a cocktail party whose eyes are constantly flitting around the room, do they make a good impression? Do they appear magnetic or charming? Probably not. Their mind is clearly somewhere else, maybe trying to figure out if there is someone in the room who is more important than you. They are not focused on the conversation, and they may glance at, or even focus on, their mobile devices. Are you likely to want to speak to them again? Chances are you will not. No one is interested in talking to someone who is not present. Worse yet is if they are not present and they are focused on technology. One research study showed that the mere presence of a cell phone impaired the sense of connection in a face-to-face conversation. However, if you meet someone who is completely attentive to you and actively engaged in the conversation, you are much more likely to find them likable and interesting. If that person's cell phone rings without them checking it, they get double brownie points. Why? Because in that moment, the only thing that seems to matter to them is you. You are the most important person there, and they have gifted you all of their attention at that moment. A charismatic person is able to exert significant influence because he or she connects with others in meaningful ways. It's no surprise that highly charismatic people, U.S. presidents are a frequent example, are often described as having the ability to make you feel as if you were the only person in the room. Given how rare it is to receive that kind of attention from anyone, the ability to be fully present makes a big impression. We often think of charisma as a special gift, the je ne sais quoi that makes someone star-like. Max Weber defined charisma as a certain quality of an individual personality by virtue of which he is set apart from ordinary men and treated as endowed with supernatural, superhuman, or at least specifically exceptional powers or qualities. These are not accessible to the ordinary person, but are regarded as of divine origin or as exemplary, and on the basis of them, the individual concerned is treated as a leader. While research on charisma is still in development, one of the most extensive studies on charisma found that charisma is not so much a gift as a learnable skill that has a lot to do with the ability to be fully present. The study pointed to 6 elements of a charismatic person. 1. Empathy. The ability to see things from another person's perspective and to understand how that person is feeling. You can only be empathic and place yourself in another person's shoes if you are fully attentive to them, which you are obviously only able to do if you are completely present with them. 2. Good listening skills. The ability to truly hear what someone is trying to communicate to you, both verbally and non-verbally. Think of the person at the conference social hour who interrupts you or can't wait to interject her 2 cents. She is not truly listening to you because she's thinking about herself, what she will say, how smart she will sound, how impressed you will be. If you are distracted or thinking about what to say next, not truly present, you are not truly listening. 3. Eye contact. The ability to meet and maintain someone's gaze. Eye contact is one of the most powerful forms of human connection. We intuitively feel that when someone's gaze shifts away from us, their attention has also shifted away from us. And this intuition is backed up by neuroscience research, which has found that the same brain regions are used when your gaze wanders as when your mind wanders. When you are present and looking someone in the eye, the impact of that connection can be powerful. In addition to feeling heard because of your empathy and good listening skills, people actually feel seen. 4. Enthusiasm. The ability to uplift another person through praise of their actions or ideas. Enthusiasm is difficult to fake because it is such an authentic emotion. It can only occur when you sincerely engage with what someone else is doing or saying. For your enthusiasm to come across powerfully, you have to sincerely feel it. Again, your ability to be fully present and engaged is essential. 5. Self-confidence. The ability to act authentically and with assurance without worrying about what other people think. Many people are so busy worrying about how they appear that they end up coming across as nervous or inauthentic. Their focus is on themselves rather than on the other person. When you are fully present, you are focused on others rather than yourself. As a consequence, you naturally come across as confident. Instead of worrying about what others are thinking of you, you are composed, genuine, and natural. 6. Skillful speaking. The ability to profoundly connect with others. It is essential to know your audience if you want to make an impact. The only way to do so, however, is to tune in to them. When you are 100% present with your audience, you are able to understand where they are coming from and how they are interpreting your words. Only then can your words be sensitive and appropriate. When you speak skillfully, you will be truly heard. Charisma, simply put, is absolute presence. While constantly focusing on the next thing or the next person may seem productive, slowing down and being present has far more profound benefits. By being present, you will enter a state of flow that is highly productive and will become more charismatic, making people around you feel understood and supported. You will have good relationships, which are one of the biggest predictors of success and happiness. How to bring your mind into the present. Given Killingsworth and Gilbert's findings that the mind wanders 50% of the time, bringing our mind back into the present can seem daunting. Let's face it, it won't be easy to undo a habit we have had for years. However, the first step is awareness. When you notice that your mind is going toward future-oriented thoughts, you can choose not to follow the train of thought. Instead, you can nudge your mind back into the present. Let's say you are working at your desk, playing with your child, or having dinner with your spouse, and you notice that your mind is somewhere else. Of course, this isn't the first time your mind has wandered away from the present, but when you first consciously observe this pattern, it can be a little disturbing. You might have thoughts like, wow, here I am with my loved ones, and I can't focus on them. But this awareness is key. Try reorienting your attention fully on what is going on in front of you. This exercise is not easy at first, but like working a muscle, you can strengthen your ability to stay present by repeating this exercise. Like learning a sport, it takes training. The following exercises, when done regularly, can help you be present more easily. Practice consciously being present. Start with a 10-minute exercise. For example, if you have a PowerPoint presentation to prepare or are working on filing your taxes, experiences you dislike or want to get over with as fast as possible, see if you can give them your full attention instead. Use these otherwise tedious activities as great opportunities to train your attention. You may find that you even start to enjoy them. Notice when you get the itch to distract yourself by surfing the internet or checking your phone, and practice focusing exclusively on the task at hand. Outside of work, take time to watch the sunset, brush your pet, or do your errands without texting, talking on the phone, or occupying yourself with planning at the same time. The more you practice being present with your activities, the more being present becomes a habit. It's not about how quickly you chop the vegetables or how soon you can get dinner put together. It's about the act of chopping itself. Find pleasure in cutting the vegetables evenly, for example. Notice every detail. Meditate. In 2012, a reported 18 million Americans practiced meditation. That's 8% of the population. This number has probably risen since then, considering the growing mindfulness movement and a large body of supportive research studies. Meditation, discussed at greater length in Chapter 3, can help you cultivate a state of calm and quiet in your mind, displacing the cycle of desire and anxiety that comes with chasing the future. Research shows that experienced meditators have less brain activity in areas related to mind wandering. I have taught meditation to students, professionals, and veterans for years. Often, right after a meditation, people say, "The colors look so much brighter in the room." It's not that the meditation somehow enhanced their vision. To my knowledge, there is no research showing that effect. What happens, however, is that their minds settle down, and as a result, they become more present and therefore attentive to their environment. Before, as they came into the room, their vision was obscured by a barrage of thoughts. There are many forms of meditation. Find the one that is right for you. If you are not drawn to meditation as a way of calming down and centering yourself, there are other activities, such as yoga, yoga-based breathing exercises, Tai Chi, or walking quietly in nature that can help settle your thoughts. I have personally found, and preliminary research also shows, that Abhyanga Ayurvedic oil self-massage is a powerful way to quiet the mind. Find the activity that allows you to settle your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, and your desires, so that you become grounded in the here and now. Breath focus. An age-old and effective practice for bringing the mind back into the present is to focus your attention on one thing, for example, on your breath. When you find your mind wandering, take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, let go of your thoughts, as if you were consciously exhaling them, and bring your attention back to the present. You may have to do this exercise repeatedly whenever you become caught up in a flurry of thoughts. Another breathing exercise that research shows helps strengthen your attention is breath counting. Count each breath you take, and when you reach 10, start over. While this exercise may not sound very exciting, research shows that it increases your ability to pay attention and stay in the present moment. Truly experience pleasure. Here's a fun one. When you feel pleasure, close your eyes and be 100% present with that pleasure. Whether it is emotional, such as love, or sensual, food, or touch, or sound, savor the sensation or experience completely. Instead of reading while you eat, savor your food, for example. Research shows that learning to bask in your pleasurable experiences helps to extend the feeling. Not only will you enjoy pleasurable experiences all the more, you may have fewer cravings for more because your experiences are more satisfying. Take a technology fast. Evan Price, the founder of Pinterest, understands the importance of unplugging. He told the New York Times that he enjoys going on such long drives with his wife that he loses cell phone signal. One of the greatest exercises in presence and joy is to spend a half day or a whole day on a technology fast, ideally in nature without a schedule. Let your mind rest and relax. Take aimless walks, Contemplate the sky. This may feel strange at first, and you may even start to be antsy or anxious because you are unaccustomed to not doing anything. It may even make you uncomfortable. After all, one study shows that people would rather give themselves electric shocks than sit in a room by themselves doing nothing. But see if you can move past that state. It's just a phase. When my husband and I visited an electricity-free, Wi-Fi-free resort in a bird sanctuary in Mexico, we were thrilled to be completely unplugged from the world. Yet, despite the ocean sounds and flocks of flamingos outside our window, it still took us at least 3 days to really adjust to being completely present. The mind takes some time to settle down. You can learn to relax your mind. The quality of your life and work depends on it. A famous parable recounts how a successful and wealthy investment banker tries to encourage a humble Mexican man fishing on a pier to boost his output so he can make more money, grow his business, and eventually become a millionaire. The fisherman asks, "What for?" To which the banker says, "So you can retire, relax, and just fish," which is precisely what the fisherman was doing in the first place. This parable illustrates how you can get so caught up in the chase that you forget your end goal, which is to be happy. Being ambitious and having goals are, of course, essential. However, to actually achieve those goals to the best of your ability, remain present. Being present allows you to find fulfillment in the moment, in the task at hand, rather than in some distant future after you have achieved everything and ticked every last task off of your list. When you slow down and focus 100% on the tasks you are working on or the people you are with, then everything becomes joyful, even the mundane. That joy in turn leads you to perform better, be more productive, become charismatic, and build better relationships. After taking our happiness class and subsequently learning to meditate, Jackie Rotman began to consciously live in the present moment. She ended up doing extremely well at Stanford and was arguably one of the most popular students in her cohort. Unlike many students who were stressed out, holed up in their rooms, and exclusively thinking about achievement, Jackie focused on the tasks at hand. She enjoyed her time and was glowing and happy. As a consequence of her infectious joy, she had a remarkable ability to connect with people and make friends. The relationships she had and the friendships she built significantly helped develop her post-graduation career. As Jackie's story shows, being fully present requires a shift in our attention. A shift that might be quite difficult at first, but whose effect on our well-being and success is well worth the effort.
This is the end of the disc. The audiobook continues on the next disc.